The Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has apparently made a trip to Saudi Arabia to meet Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. The visit, shrouded in secrecy, was orchestrated by the outgoing U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo. What does the meeting of the Middle East's oldest rivals mean for the future of the region? I'm Ali Mustafa, and this is Bibi Meets Sally, Decoded. In late August 2020, the Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman abruptly cancelled a scheduled trip to Washington, D.C. There he was due to meet the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. The visit was called off when MbS learned that news of his trip had been leaked. MbS apparently wanted the visit to be kept a secret to contain the reaction. It was meant to top off the UAE and Bahraini recognition of Israel as part of the Abraham Accords. So when the Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu took an unscheduled flight to the futuristic Saudi city of Neom to meet the Saudi Crown Prince, it was a moment to reflect. It is the first official encounter between the highest-ranking Israeli and Saudi officials, part of a US push to convince Arab countries to normalize ties with Israel. Israel and Saudi Arabia do not have any diplomatic relations. But that isn't to say that Netanyahu and MbS haven't met behind closed doors. Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman secretly visited Tel Aviv in 2017 to meet Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu. The central topic of discussion then was Iran and Trump's refusal to abide by the Obama-era Iran nuclear deal, the JCPO. And the fact that Pompeo was present at Neom when Netanyahu and MbS met points at Iran this time as well. And what do the Israelis get in return? Well, to begin with, Saudi recognition would effectively mean an end to Israeli isolation in the Muslim world. Let me emphasize, Israeli recognition by Saudi Arabia would be a jackpot for Tel Aviv, as it would mark a tectonic shift in the Muslim world. Turkey, Saudi Arabia, and Iran are the Muslim world's traditional power brokers. While Turkey has faced off against Iranian expansionism in Syria and Iraq, Saudi Arabia has been part of the American initiative to isolate Iran, with Israel the loudest cheerleader. Despite MbS's excesses, the Al Saud family is still the custodian of the two holiest sites in Islam. Riyadh funds billions of dollars in religious aid to countries across the world, such as Pakistan and Bosnia, to gain influence. The money enabled Saudi Arabia to set up madrasas, or religious schools, where students are educated in the absence of publicly funded schools. The madrasa network and the aid and students who pass through it empower Saudi Arabia to gain a foothold in Muslim countries. But now, this relationship is going through a drastic change because a younger generation is replacing the old guard and a new generation of Saudi leaders is taking over. 60% of the Saudi population is below the age of 30, the same demographic the Crown Prince MbS comes from. But it's not just the Saudis that are dealing with a generational shift. The Palestinians are also going through a similar process where the old guard is refusing to make way. So MbS's message then to the Palestinians is the same: get rid of the old to make way for newer ideas. This was articulated by Prince Bandar bin Sultan, thought to be close to MbS, who accused Palestinian leaders of betraying their people by not accepting the Abraham Accords. An entire generation of Palestinians now finds itself under the MbS-driven bus. But is MbS the man who will finally end Saudi Arabia's principled boycott of Israel based on its occupation of Palestinians, something that King Abdullah couldn't achieve, especially when the young prince is still busy jailing female drivers at home? Tell us what you think. Send me your comments and suggestions to TRT World's YouTube page. I'm on Twitter at Ali_Mustafa.